Hi, with Julian on the brown note, and a quick one on the conspiracy theory du jour, which is the 15-minute city, and arguably the funniest conspiracy theory yet. We have lived in an era of ever expanding conspiracy theories, and they were in the margins for a long time, but I think the internet has given people a massive voice. And if you look at the amount of people, the amount of commentary online in social media that is promoting anti-vax conspiracy theories versus the number of people that support them in real life, which is 5% of the population, is a dangerous skewing of the loudness of this voice. And the impact will be that there will probably be an increase in people believing that, because the conspiracy theorists, with regards to COVID, 3 years ago said a bunch of stuff, wasn't proven right, and then just says they were. They just say that everything they said was proven right. And I did another piece on they can cherry pick one thing going their way out of 100 things they've said and maintain that everything they said all the way through was correct, which is garbage. But the 15-minute city is the funniest conspiracy theory I've had. It's a conspiracy theory about the best social planning I've heard of in the era of the property developer being God, that makes everyone's life so much better, being painted as one world government. So the 15-minute city is the idea that we will take a city and create a community where you've got amenities and resources within a 15-minute walk of your house, your shop, your school, and you can work, remotely, or your business will be located within this 15 minutes of where you live. I don't know many people on earth that live in major cities that don't think that's the best idea they've ever had. I love spending an hour and a half on a bus. You morons. The way that cities have been developed, which was the hollowing out of urban areas and just apartment blocks to the horizon, every colourful characteristic of a local community being erased for faceless apartment blocks to the horizon, with no amenities, no high streets, no nothing, and people just queuing for transport to go where they have to go and spending 2 hours a day on that transport. The horrendous version of life that we have being changed to being much better is apparently the scariest thing these whack jobs have ever heard of. And they even throw in things like congestion zones. Like places like London have had congestion zones for 20 years. You pay to go into the centre of the city, so less people drive around the city polluting it. Been around for decades. Has nothing to do with this 15-minute city. This is in fact them criticising us returning to what life used to be like. This is a version of life from the past that was great, that we all complain about not existing now. Who the hell wants to travel for an hour to go to an office? Are you mad? The idea of being able to walk to everything I need is wonderful. And yeah, an enormously epic thing for climate change. This is why I've posted so many things about remote working and working from home being the future. One of the big elements is having 100 million people using transport every day isn't enjoyable for their lives and has a massive impact on climate change. I just don't understand. I think conspiracy theorists like the need to feed. So I think the COVID thing is winding down a bit, but now there's a lot of dangerous right-wing populist politicians that will jump on any bandwagon. So they're going to be promoting the COVID stuff like crazy, but now they're promoting the 15-minute city thing. It's like they just need to pretending that they have actually got this movement and it's all correlated together, and that there's this one world government against them. But I'm a lefty attacking you because you're an idiot. I mean, you're on the same side as property developers and right-wing politicians, and you think that you're Che Guevara. It's like, these are the people that don't want this are property developers. They love apartments to the horizon. Property developers are the bane of our lives if you live in Sydney or London or New York or any major city where no one can afford to buy a house anymore. Instead, there'll be this suburb where you can have everything, and it doesn't need to be connected to the CBD anymore. What your version of a city is much more Stalin-esque. Let's have 1 million workers living here, and they can all travel to work over here. You're actually opposing the very ethos of individualism you claim to profess, which is that I can have a nice life in a suburb and not be beholden to the people that own the CBD. Why are you on the same side as corporations? I want my socialist utopia, thank you. I can't think of anything better. The development of Sydney has been an absolute eyesore. It's made property prices the most unaffordable next to Hong Kong in the whole world. And you go out in Western Sydney and you can see 3 million people living in this giant camp of apartment complexes, and they're talking about making nice areas to live, and you think that this is a one world government conspiracy theories. I don't know why you always seem to be on the same side as right-wing politicians. Right-wing politicians are the totalitarians, you know that, right? Or are you one of these people that post online about Hitler being a left-wing socialist? And why is there so many evangelical Christians in this movement? It's very unnerving that so many of these people that seem to end up in these climactic shootouts on farmhouses seem to have a strong contact with the evangelical Christian movement as well, and also oppose action on climate change. I don't know where Christianity got this massive attack on climate change from, and it's certainly not across all denominations, but the evangelical church seems to regard it as up there with child abuse for some reason. So yeah, I just wanted to say I would really like my socialist utopia, please. Can I live in a city where that's happening? But to believe that this is a conspiracy theory, you can find any form of social planning you want if you look. All of it has been considered. Virtually all of the great stuff has been sidelined for property developers, right-wing politicians and corporate interests. This is a good one. To have a 15-minute city as part of the one world government, what do you think the objective is? What seriously do you think is going to happen? What do you think that's different to the way that we already live in major cities would be? We in general live in areas and go to work and go home again. Are you suggesting that might be more pleasant? Are you suggesting that they will have a border and we won't be able to leave? In case you haven't realised, money drives the world and consumers drive money. They want consumers no matter what. They want consumers even if it means the end of the world, through climate change, through anything. So what do you think is going to happen? These people aren't going to go anywhere? They're not going to go to shops? Even now they're doing online shopping left, right and centre. I'm more concerned about my money, my life's money being given to somebody else to pay off their mortgage. That's social engineering that I oppose. Everything I earn much more money than my dad, and my whole life's earnings have gone to someone else. He's kept all of his and has a beautiful 4-bedroom home. That's social engineering I oppose, and that was a deliberate thing. Corporations have eroded the quality of life that we have since the introduction of economic neoliberalism around the start of the 80s. And a lot of our quality of life has vanished. And if you don't think that we live in a prison camp now, but that having that level of nice freedom would be a prison camp. How do you define a prison camp?